Hello everybody. I know it's been a hot minute since I made some videos, but I'm going to be doing a couple of videos, and that's because I recently came back from some section hikes, so now I actually have some things to talk about. And why haven't I been on section hikes? Well, it's probably for the same reason that many of you watching this haven't been on section hikes, and it's because of the pandemic. That's a big part of it. But yeah, now I was able to get some section hikes in. I did also have to take a break from longer hikes due on doctor's orders, but everything's okay. I won't get into it. It's a long story, but I'm fine and and recovered and all that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to more section hikes in the future, especially now that the pandemic is thankfully there seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel now with the vaccines getting out there. Where I currently, where I live here in Sweden, the vaccines are not going as fast as I would like in other countries, like in the U.S. That is one thing that the U.S. seems to be doing a good job of getting vaccines out there. But I'm not going to talk too much about that. What I wanted to talk about was gear. I have some key pieces of gear that on these section hikes stood out, and they also happen to be changes too, some small changes. And well, maybe not small. Some of them maybe could say are more significant changes to my gear if you're a big ultralight nerd, like I hope you are, like me, right? So I'm gonna just get into that, discuss those three pieces of gear, and then a big piece of gear though is my backpack. I have a newer backpack that I want to talk about, but that's going to be a separate video. I'll put a link to it once I finish. I'm just going to do these videos back to back. Once I finish that video, I'll put a link in the description below to that video on my custom Atom 35 pack frameless backpack. And I will also put a link in the description below to my updated 3-season gear list. And that also includes changes for when it's slightly colder or slightly warmer, like summertime. So that's pretty much all year round below tree line. So things like going above tree line into the mountains, and winter I have special separate gear lists for that. But this is the majority of my trips, so that's why I'm gonna focus on that. So here we go. Quick disclaimer. I'm not sponsored. I feel like I've repeated this so many times, but just in case you're new here or whatever, still not sponsored. Never have been. Never gotten any free gear. Paid for this gear with my own money, etc. All right. So let's jump right into it then. I have three pieces of gear in front of me that I want to talk about, and I also have some things to compare and contrast. And some of them are kind of big or more popular now in the ultralight community. And the first one, of course, is a fanny pack. There are many different fanny packs in the ultralight world, right from the fancier ones made of DCF or X-Pack, and many cottage companies offer them. Even bigger ultralight companies like Gossamer Gear and Mountain Laurel Designs have them. And in the past, I have used fanny packs, and I liked them okay. But then for quite some time, for many years, I used a satchel. I used or whatever you want to call it, a shoulder bag, a satchel, a purse, and I was very, very happy with that. And of course, each packing accessory has its own pros and cons, so I'll go over a few of those as well. So my fanny pack, which I mentioned before in another video too, this is the Decathlon fanny pack, which is kind of like a generic camping, hiking brand, right? That many of you are probably already familiar with. But Decathlon makes like pretty decent gear, and it's also pretty affordable. And so this fanny pack was pretty cheap. I forget exactly how much I paid for it, but it was not that much. I think it was like $10 or something like that. But it's just made out of like a robust polyester. It claims to be 2 liters. I don't know about that, but it's enough. I found it to be adequate for my needs, for the stuff that I keep in here. I like to wear it as a chest pouch more than like as a hip pouch. So I wear it here on my chest. I kind of just like sling it around my well, as you see here, around my head, and it's like a chest pouch, and I really like it. I think I'm jumping on the fanny pack bandwagon, and I really enjoyed it on these section hikes, and also on day hikes and other things, like shorter hikes too. But there's a few small pockets. there's like a secret pocket in the back where you can keep like your wallet or cash or whatever. Then there's a little pocket inside, and then on the outside, what I like is, if you see here, there's a little mesh pocket, and you can store, you can see I put like my backup compass and thermometer. Here is like a zipper tab pull thing, and it stores nicely in that little mesh pocket. Then I can put, like, what I normally do is put like garbage. If I'm eating granola bar or something, I can put the wrapper in there or whatever, right? But I really like this Fanny Pack. And if you wanted to get, something that's more robust, more durable and more water, proof or resistant, you could of course look into some of those other alternatives I mentioned earlier. But if you're looking for just a, adequate, gets the job done, and in a good way Fanny Pack, then this is a great option. I don't see myself upgrading to one of those fancy, Fanny Packs. They're also way more expensive. You're looking at 3 or 4 times the price. But yeah, so that's one big craze in the ultralight world is Fanny Packs. But that's that. Now, next thing is going to be something that's even a bigger craze. This is probably one of the biggest crazes in the ultralight community, and that is fleeces. I'm wearing just a simple fleece that I've been using for years, and it's gets the job done. It's a good fleece. It's just a generic brand fleece that I bought at a sporting goods store here in Sweden, and I've been using it in combination with my Enlightened equipment, which is the next piece of gear I want to talk about, my Enlightened equipment Torah jacket. And so no, this is not actually going to be about me buying a Melly or what are some of the new fancy hoodies out there. There are several different new like hoodies that seem to be popping up every month. Fanny Pack makes a fleece hoodie as well, and they can be pretty expensive, and lots of people are crazy about them. But I'm replacing my fleece. I have a few fleeces, and they're nothing fancy. This one is a generic brand, and then I have a Nike, like jogging hoodie, and all of these are generally the same kind of material with a little different tweaks to it. It's gridded polyester fleece, or it's maybe this one is more like a fuzzy kind of furry polyester fleece, and they breathe really well, and they do provide good warmth. But I ditched the fleece on one of the trips, and I used the Torah as my insulating layer, and I like it more. I think I'm going to only bring a fleece when it's going to be especially chilly, but I think I'm going to leave the fleece at home on trips in the future and just rely on the Torah. I lived in the Torah for much of these section hikes, and I enjoyed it more than the fleece. I found that I underestimated how breathable the material is. The inside is a 10D nylon, the outside is a 20D. I also have no regrets at all about getting the 20D over the 10D for the outer shell layer. I really like it. And to discuss how it fits into my layering setup, I wear a merino wool base layer, then a short sleeve nylon just hiking shirt, button up hiking shirt on top of that, and then most often I would just wear this and be fine. And this was fine for conditions while I'm hiking, of course, around freezing or just below freezing or just above freezing. And it does great in wind too. I really like the hood, works great too if you wear a cap like I do. And then it works well in conjunction with my other insulating layers, because I have a down vest, a Bora Gear down vest that I can then put over this. And then I always take a wind jacket. I'm a big fan of wind jackets, so if it's really cold, like it was a few nights where it got down to maybe minus 5, 6, and then another night it got it to at least -3, -2, -3, and you wake up in the morning and you get out of your sleeping bag or quilt, and it's really chilly. So then I layer up everything, and that gets me very toasty, right? So I have base layer, shirt, the puffy, and then I have vest, and then I have on top of everything the wind jacket. And I did that on a few occasions just to really warm up. But then what I like is how versatile that setup is. I find it to be more versatile than with the fleece. More warmth, more comfort. And so, yeah, the Torah, I'm going to it's going to do more of the heavy lifting that the fleece did in the past. And I'm very happy with its performance. Now, that being said, I do really love this jacket, but there are, some drawbacks of using Climate Shield Apex insulation. This is made from a 2.0 ounce Apex. It does over time, I've had this for several years now, it does compress with time and it's not as warm. When I first got it, it was puffier, warmer. I tested it on day hikes and section hikes and in the past, and one of the reasons why I didn't want to use it as like my insulating layer while hiking is because it was too warm. It'd be minus -1, -2, and I'd have this and be too warm. And so it's compressed and it's kind of, I guess, reached its final form and after being used, a fair amount. And so now it's like maybe a few degrees has been knocked off, its temperature rating. It's now, I found myself using it very comfortably at around hiking at around 0 to like +5 degrees. It worked great there. After, any warmer than that, I would switch this for my wind jacket and hike in that. And yeah, so I'm gonna be putting the fleeces, away for the future. But that may change too. And like I said before, if it's extra cold, then I throw a fleece in the mix, and that would be, for winter or really cold temperatures. Yes. So more of the Torrid. I want to, wear this, run it into the ground. I love that jacket. Now, the next thing is going to be, I think, more especially niche and nerdy, and I'm going to actually compare foam pads here. But this has actually made a big difference in my backpacking kit, and I'll explain why. So what I'm going to be talking about is foam pads. So I have two foam pads here. One is the Decathlon. I got a Decathlon, which I talked about already. It's the same makers, the Fanny Pack. They make several different foam pads as well. They're actually, well, at least this one I have. This is the one and only one I've gotten from them. Surprisingly decent, really good, even foam pad. Has a R value of 1, and sitting on it and testing it, I can say just subjectively from my experiences that that is the case. This is your standard, green, or in the States they're usually blue from Walmart, foam pad, and it's about 1 centimeter thick or so. This one is about half the thickness, right? It's about half a centimeter, so it's much thinner, which makes it more flexible. This one is bulkier and harder to manipulate. This one, it's the same warmth for less weight. And if you notice too, if I cut a bigger, it's kind of hard to see the camera, but it's a bigger piece that I've cut. There's more area to the thinner one. You see that the thicker one kind of fits inside of it. I cut it slightly larger, and this is for my back pad in my backpack. So it's a frameless pack, and so this is the new back pad for it. And then of course at night when I'm go to sleep, this also acts as insulation. I can supplement this, or it complements my sleeping system. And when it gets especially chilly, it's nice to have either under my legs or under my torso or wherever I want to put it. And then I can also use my sit pad in conjunction with that. But yeah, I was very happy with it, not only for packing, kind of a good punch. It's punching above kind of its thickness, because it's just as warm as the other pad, and it weighs less, and it's bigger. So I was able to knock off several grams, I think like 5-6 grams or whatever, from the other one, and have it be just as warm, slightly bigger, packs easier. And on top of that, it affected how I pack my backpack, which I can discuss whenever I do my backpack review. I can discuss in more detail kind of how that works, because I have to get into the nuances of my new backpack to discuss how that works. But little things like that I really like to update my kit with, little things that really add a lot of quality of life out on trail, when you're packing and when you're sleeping. It's little things like this that really make, I think, a big difference, right? Silvery layer, as you can see, and it's got these little creases or nooks in it, which I think, you know, help to trap heat too. But yes, those are the three kind of pieces of gear. I don't often make that many changes to my gear over the past, like, I don't know, 5-6 years. I've been very, very happy with my kit. I haven't changed it out all that much, but these little things I have changed out, I think do make a big difference. I mean, when you get to this point, when you like fine tune your gear list to the extent that I do it, I would say, you know, I'm very, very happy with my gear, and I would put like my gear list as like, I don't know, 9.5. Very, very happy with how it functions. I really, really love it. This is like what I have now, you know, the lighter pack I have below. This is the best gear combination that I've ever had, you know, my whole life. And so it's nice to be able to have these, you know, little constant evolution and improvement. But all right, so I hope you've enjoyed me blabbing on and on about gear, and you get a little update on how things are going. Hopefully in the future there'll be more hikes and more videos, but until then, I hope everybody's doing well, staying safe, and happy trails to everybody. Goodbye.